Today I'm showing you guys how we take care of 130-ish reptiles and amphibians, and it all starts in my car at work at around 3:30 or 4 p.m. So here's where my day job ends and the night job begins. Now, the drive is about 40 minutes home, so on the way I actually do listen to mostly podcasts. The podcast that I'm listening to right now is Animals at Home. Dylan Perrin, he has actually come and stayed at our place, and I've done several episodes with him, so I'll leave the link to those in the description down below if you guys are interested. We must hit the road because we have to deal with the second problem, and that is getting recaffeinated before hopping into the animal chores. And we have transitioned into the reptile room itself. As you can see, I do have my coffee with me right here. That is pretty much the first thing I do when we get home is make a little bit of caffeine so I can make it through the day and not fall asleep. Now it is currently 5 o'clock, and that is typically when we make it into the reptile room. The first thing we do when we come down here is analyze everything. We do exactly as I'm doing right now, talking to the camera, looking at things, making sure everybody is ticking, making sure there's no weird issues or anything going on. All the lizards are active, the frogs are consistently blobby. Yeah, we just analyzing all the animals very quickly, like no more than 20 or 30 seconds, making sure everything's doing well. The more in-depth analysis will come later on when we go through bins, check water dishes, and change the water dishes that need to be changed. And speaking of checking up on the animals while we're in here, this is the next thing that we do. We write a list. We go through, check what water dishes need to be changed. We will write down what needs to be fed. Sometimes we also do a secondary list, as in like, oh, what do we want to get done this week? Or what do we have coming up? So those are different things. I can leave a link to this Blackboard thing in the description down below. It's an Amazon affiliate link if you're interested. Help me out, no extra cost to you. And I believe Prime Day is coming up this week, so there'll be a few products that will be linked down there, including Levoit, a beautiful vacuum cleaner. I want to thank Levoit very much for sponsoring this video, and we'll talk about that later in the vlog. First order of business is most certainly going to be water dishes. But before we get into water dishes, I did want to thank you guys all very much for checking out the channel. If you're interested in what happens in the reptile room, the kind of behind the scenes look, you want to click subscribe, hit the like button down below because it helps me out, helps the channel grow. I want to take you guys along the journey with us, caring for all these beautiful creatures, breeding a lot of the more rare reptiles that we keep. If you're into that kind of thing, yeah, definitely do click subscribe. But on to water dish cleaning. This thing right here is one of the most useful things that we use in the room. This is a wash bin. I'll leave a link to an Amazon link down below. You guys can check it out. It is Black Friday this week. Everything will be on sale, and that's a great thing to pick up. So I'm gonna start collecting water dishes, and while I'm doing that, Bree is actually going around making the salads and the Pangea that will be used later on in this video. So now that you understand that part, let's start with the water dishes, then carry on to what Bree's doing. Their dish is kind of stained. Just needs to be wiped out, typically like twice a week. While this may look dirty, it's actually not. It's just some tannins from the cork branch in there, so not gonna bother taking that out right now. As we know, the turtles are famous for making their water absolutely disgusting. This is like 1 to 2 days without changing. Nasty. Yours is actually much better. As we were making our way around the room, most of the enclosures were good until we came upon the Takydromus dorsalis, and he had a little bit of leaves in his dish, so no. That's not what this video is intended to be. I mean, a hangout's always welcome. He always does this. He typically runs up to my shoulder, and normally he actually does a full round. He runs up my left shoulder and then comes down my right shoulder, or vice versa. This time he decided to do a switcheroo and head back towards his tank, but psych, he actually jumped onto the tank right next to him. He happily climbed back onto my arm and went peacefully back into the tank. But now we can come here Your water dish isn't too bad. And now it's time to grab the rat snake's water, toss that in the bin, and move on to the snake rack. Going through checking all the hog noses. Only grabbed a couple. Bree just went through these a couple days ago, so they weren't bad. And of course, hang out with Saguaro in the process. And now I think it's time to check in with Bree and salad making. This week's salad mostly consisted of green leaf lettuce, red kale, and some carrots. This is also used later on as a cricket gut load. So for those of you wondering what we feed our crickets, whatever the reptiles eat is what the crickets get. And then we also supplement them with some other pre-prepared diets from like Pangea or Arcadia or any of those main brands. And of course, whilst Bree was doing that, I was still doing water dishes, completely preoccupied with grabbing the rat snake water dish, then moving on to the racks. While I was working on those last few dishes, Bree was simultaneously making some Pangea. In our Pangea mix, we don't just use straight Pangea, we actually do like to add some cricket protein powder to it as well. Again, links for it will be in the description. It adds a little bit of extra protein to the more fruity Pangeas. So now we are finished collecting waters. You saw me go through pretty much everything. The only thing that we have to do now is go get some hot water and some soap on them. That's how we typically do our rinses with the water dishes. Occasionally we'll soak them in F10 and occasionally we'll also run them through the dishwasher. The last water dish we need to grab is Tytula's water dish secured. Let's go clean some dishes. While that's soaking in the extremely hot, almost boiling water, Bree is now finished with the prep. So she made the salads as well as the Pangea. Now Bree's gonna go through and clean all the paper towels on the frogs, the Chihuahua, and the Urodactylodes. Catch those Instagram pics while you can. While Bree sped through the cleaning of the animals that were on paper towel, I took the liberty to start cleaning the geckos that live on sand because they are pretty easy to clean and it doesn't take all that much time, and I would like to get that done before feeding and misting. While we're cleaning all the geckos that are on sand and some of the other random poops that we might find, this truly is one of the best setups we've found. Bree invented this in our room at least, and this is just a dog bag inside a 32-ounce container. It's recyclable, so if you're just putting in, wood shavings and poop and things, you can actually put it in your compost. So it's perfect. Now let's continue. Cutest little thing ever. I'm not sure about you, but when I'm cleaning tanks, no matter how careful I am, I always end up bumping the sides of the enclosure and dumping sand all over the ground. That's where today's sponsor Levoit comes in with their cordless vacuum cleaner, the Vortex IQ40. It's on sale for 10% off on Black Friday, and it is one of the best value vacuum cleaners available on Amazon. On top of that, I know on my Amazon at least, I had a $20 off coupon, so you're saving tons of cash here. As you can see, our welcome mat into the reptile room has seen better days, with all the dog hair and coconut fiber ground into the fibers, so I put this bad boy to the test, and one of the coolest features is the auto mode. When the dust detector finds a particularly dirty area, it automatically ramps up the suction until the mess is gone and then lowers it back down. This method saves so much battery. I was very impressed with this vacuum, honestly. It cleaned up all kinds of surfaces, handled the sand mess wonderfully. It has an incredibly easy to empty catch bin, and like I mentioned, great battery life. I did all the filming, cleaned the entire reptile room, and still had tons of battery remaining. Speaking about cleaning the reptile room, I know it's about time I changed the filter in my air purifier, the Levoit 400S. I removed the old filter, gave it a good vacuum, and then replaced it with a brand new one. Thanks for Levoit for providing me with this vacuum cleaner, and if you are interested at all, now is the time to pick one up. Make sure you treat yourself this Black Friday. The link is in the description and in the pinned comment. And for those of us reptile room havers, yes, it does the dirtiest job of all, spider elimination. and now we can move from cleaning to feeding. Of course, the first part of feeding is loading their food dishes. We have the red dish for Sheldon, the other large circular dish for the Uromastyx, and the smaller one for Tytula. We got Shellman's deliciousness that I'm sure he'll destroy momentarily. For those of you that watched the reptile room tour, you might have heard me saying that Sheldon might not have been doing so good and that I was kind of worried. Well, thankfully, he has turned around. I will be bringing him in for a beak check, and we can do a little bit more thorough testing or analyzing of his behaviors at that time. Also, how did you find this video without watching the reptile room tour? We will let Sheldon go eat. Bree's going to get some berries for Tytula, so we'll show him later. I think they can tell what's going on. Oh. Man, you're cute, but you do not have the brains to back it up. Go get it, girly. Want some? Yummy. Wait. Oh, that's food. We will continue moving forward with feeding time for the Iggy. He typically doesn't eat right off the bat, but there is some nice blueberries and stuff in there, so he's like, wait, you never give me stuff. Do you want to take blueberry? Here. Ooh. Yummy. There we go. Okay, can you eat a palm? Never had that. He's never had this before, so. Ow! That was my finger. Ow, ow, ow. Can you eat the blue, this? There. Nope. There we go. Delicious. It could take quite a while for Tytula to finish eating, so I ended up just putting his feeding dish on his food ledge and continued on. Okay, we are done many of the chores so far. I've replaced all the waters. I figured, you know what, you guys don't need to see me putting back all the water dishes you saw me take out. Now it is time to mist. It is 7 o'clock just about, so we've been at it for about 2 hours, but keep in mind that everything takes way longer when we're filming. Normally the whole routine is done in about 2 hours, if not less. Today we have particularly a lot to go through. I go live almost every day misting the entire room, so if you want to come hang out, chat, we talk reptiles, we talk frogs, we talk misting, definitely toss me a follow on Instagram, and let's get going. Now, misting is one of those things that we get questions about all the time, wondering why we don't have a mist king or a mister of some kind. And truthfully, it's because I'm lazy. My justification for that is, however, it really does force me to check up on all the animals, make sure they're all doing well, and I get to spend some like one-on-one time with things like the Takydromus because a lot of times they come out during misting. Realistically though, yes, we will be setting up a mist king at some point in the near future, but it is yet to be seen thus far. And one of the last orders of business for tonight's work is dusting the fruit flies and getting them fed off. First of all though, I forgot to mist a couple of the Gecko bins. These are the clouded forest geckos, fantastic species and great looking bins as well. There's actually a beautiful flower in this one that we should check out. Oh no. Still a beautiful flower. After I gave them a quick checkup, I ended up moving on to feeding all the fruit flies off, starting with the Oophaga histrionica. Unfortunately, they were all hiding. If you guys haven't seen the video about the Oophaga histrionica, make sure you check the card section right now. That will lead you to the video, and I would highly recommend watching the $65,000 frog unboxing. And just to get some action out of this feeding part, I ended up feeding the Takydromus babies, and they went ham. That's Mr. Wigglesworth. It's on your nose. And because dart frog feeding is a necessity of this video, I did also feed the Amirga, and they went nuts. Remember that Pangea that we made earlier? Yes, we did end up feeding it. This is proof that Chihuahua mashing down on it. Unfortunately, I totally forgot to film it, and Bree did it while I was outside the room, so stay tuned for the feeding video later next month. And now finally nearing the very end, we're going to gut load the crickets. That is pretty much the last step. There's a little bit of foreshadowing that will occur to a feeding video in December. So yeah, let's go take a look at the invertebrates that we are feeding our reptiles. Like I mentioned earlier, we feed the crickets and the invertebrates the exact same as what we feed the animals. Bree ended up finding these automatic bird watering feeders, and holy smokes, after cramming one single cotton ball into it, they work perfectly. They do need to be replaced fairly often, but it's truly a game changer when it comes to cricket hydration. Of course, we keep them in fairly large bins with great ventilation. That is critical when it comes to keeping the smell down with crickets. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys would be interested in seeing kind of a feeders care guide. The false discoids are now legal in Canada, and we ended up getting some, and I will be showing you a feeding video of them later on next month. And with them, it's pretty simple. You want to make sure that the substrate is moist, and then we just dump a ton of food in there because holy smokes, these guys can put it back. Alrighty, you guys, and that does it for the kind of day in the life, I suppose, or a night in the life. We had a crazy weekend and didn't get a whole lot done in terms of reptile room related things, so there's still a lot more that I needed to do. I still needed to make fruit fly cultures. That will have to be tomorrow. We need to feed off the crickets. That will also be tomorrow. So always a busy time here in the reptile room. There's never a dull moment. There's always something that can be done, whether it's working on new tank builds, whether it's making a video for you guys. It's always work. That's the main point. But you know what? It's a passion. Honestly, I wouldn't do it if I didn't love it. So I want to thank you guys all very much for watching. My camera's about to die. I hope you have a great night. Make sure you leave a comment down below and let me know what you liked, what you maybe want to see more of, maybe what you don't want to see as much of. Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you click subscribe if you want to see some crazy content coming out in December, including the feeding all my pets. That's always a big one. And yeah, that's all I'm going to tease for now. I want to thank Levoit for sponsoring this video. Make sure you click the link down below. Check out the vacuum. Fantastic vacuum, and I'm very happy to have one that we can basically just keep in the reptile room now. It's going to be so clean. That's enough rambling from me. Later. Bye.